Okay, cool. You're ready to go? Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome. So this is just a very brief lecture on meetups in New York City and a bit of some perspective that I have to offer you on getting into meetups and being active in them, just from my own experience here in the city and elsewhere. Because I'm somebody who likes meetups a lot. Even before moving to New York and deciding that I wanted to be a software developer, I really liked Meetup.com. I co-ran a meetup with one of my friends, met some really great people, some people who are now lifelong friends of mine. So I'm very enthusiastic about meetups. So that's a little bit of where I'm coming from. I know that when I moved to New York City after deciding that I was going to try to make it in the hard and fast world of software development, I did start going to meetups, and that ended up being really, really great for me because I got to meet people who helped me a lot and gave me some advice, which was actually in some ways really critical to moving forward because once you start learning how to do development, how to program, it can be really difficult to figure out what the next step is or how to move forward. Meeting some experienced developers was actually pretty important for me there in that formative phase. So when the tech community talks about the community, a lot of times we are in fact talking about Meetup.com. It is kind of the real deal in the tech world. It's something that gets used a lot, kind of like how a lot of us think that say LinkedIn is just like a website. It's just like one option of many, but the weird reality is that a lot highly use it, or like Facebook for everything else in the world. Meetup.com is very highly utilized by people in the tech community. Even Fullstack has a meetup which it uses to organize things like an academics prep workshop that I was hosting just over the weekend. So meetups are a lot. I really think that in your job hunt, it's definitely something you should really consider doing a lot. Pre-job hunt, especially if you're a junior, I would focus on this a lot less. I mean a little bit more towards seniors to put this on your radar for the future, because once you start job hunting, you'll have all of a sudden a lot more free time that'll just be focused on doing things like networking and finding a job. And meetups are really great there. While you're a student here, maybe it's not the best use of your time. If you have some free time on a weekend, then it's definitely really cool, really great, but don't let it distract from your studying or anything like that, because there's still a lot of work that you have to do here. So I just want to kind of address maybe if you're somebody who hasn't really thought about meetups as something that you could be into or something you would want to attend. I just want to address maybe what I think some of those fears could be. And the first one is, of course, that socializing. Socializing is hard. It's really tough, and nobody likes to have to talk to a bunch of strangers. What I would say is it's okay generally, especially for tech meetups, because it is just going to be a bunch of other people who are in general just like you guys, and they in fact kind of want the same things that you want. I think something that really that worries me is whenever I go to one of these meetups is that especially if it's really career oriented, that people are just going to be judging me for being a phony, or thinking that I'm just trying to talk to them because I'm somebody who wants a job, or I'm just trying to see what I can get out of other people. But the reality is other people also have that fear, and so it's sort of okay. In the tech meetup scene, there is sort of this back scratching mentality, I suppose, and it's okay to be comfortable with that, because even if you go into a situation where that's sort of what everybody's mindset is, everybody's still ultimately people in the end. So it's you can get some just pretty legitimate relations out of that. Something that has been said to me probably more than once, just talking to people at meetups, is that they've told me that jobs that they've gotten in the past have generally been from people they've met and people they network with, never from jobs that they've actually applied for. So it really does help to actually get out and talk to real people. Something that's a little bit more serious that I want to address is that by telling you guys that it's a really good idea to go and talk to random people on the internet, that's definitely something that I feel is tinged with some of my male privilege. It's a lot easier for me to say that it's okay to just go out and meet strangers when the reality is nobody wants to be put into an uncomfortable situation. And the really unfortunate reality is that like in our society, if you're female, then there's a much higher chance that you're going to be put into an uncomfortable situation. I would like to think that if you're like somebody who's attending a tech meetup, then you're like a nice person who's not going to do that. But the reality is, like even like in meetups I've attended, I've been put into uncomfortable situations myself. So nobody wants that. This is why I highly recommend, like for all of you, is just bring a co-pilot, bring one of your friends. Don't go and meet strangers from the internet on your own. That's that's a bad idea. Like if you're going to like a small group of people, definitely. But even in like a large crowd, nobody wants to be like caught on their own. What's really great for all of you is that that you're all here at Fullstack, is that you're all in each other's network. You all have each other's backs now. So you automatically have this group of people that you can trust to go to these things with, which is really great. Like another great thing is that in in the city, there's these really incredible and really active all-female meetups, like Women Who Code, which I can't recommend enough, is actually co-organized to some extent by Shauna, who, if you haven't met her yet, is the dean of Grace Hopper, our sister school on the 11th floor. So definitely, if you're interested in hearing more about that, then you can always send her a Slack or go down and talk to her. I'm sure she would love to tell you more about it. Some other fears for attending meetups is the fear of being a noob. And if you look at what people, experienced programmers on the internet write, sometimes maybe on Stack Overflow, you could easily be gotten to the impression that like people in real life behave the same way that they might behave on the internet, where it's like if you ask a stupid question, you're going to get shot down. But this is really not the case. I mean, like think of yourself. So if somebody comes up and asks you for help with something, are you like, do you shut them down, or do you actually like to help them? I think in real life people are definitely nicer than they are when they're cloaked by the anonymity of the internet. People actually do more if they need your help, because when I guess depending on your attitudes about altruism, it does really make you it does make you feel good to help another person. So. And actually, I think I remember it's one of the, I think it's like the how to win friends and influence people. One of the points there is that if you want somebody to like you, ask them for help, because they'll feel really good that they've helped you, and will just wind up liking you a lot more as a consequence. Something else cool that you may even not be aware of is that just the fact that you guys are getting a really deep exposure to JavaScript does kind of make you these mini rock stars of the tech community. And you may not believe me, but JavaScript is, it is a big deal. That's part of the reason that we teach it here. But if you go out and meet other developers, especially even really experienced developers who are coming from a different language, in a lot of their jobs right now, they're having to move to JavaScript from something else that they might have been working with their entire lives, and it's really difficult for them because JavaScript, as you all know, is kind of different, has some of its own quirks, and the fact that you have this deep knowledge of JavaScript is really interesting and really cool to them. So you could in fact wind up helping people who you would never have thought in a million years would have needed any advice from you, and that's pretty cool, and that's a good feeling, and I think. And that's something that happened to me, and that was it is a really nice confidence boost to have that happen. Here's a list of some just meetups that I kind of picked out that I found as being active, but it's no way a complete list. New York JavaScript in particular, Fullstack has hosted their events here, and they've hosted the guy that wrote. You don't know JavaScript, which I find really cool because that guy's pretty cool. Women Who Code, of course. NYC, Joe just gave a talk there, actually. On that note, giving talks at meetups is also just a great addition to any of your resumes. It's part of the reason that we do tech talks here as a senior. If you're a junior, then you'll get to see what that is about eventually. But going to meetups and just presenting yourself as somebody who's available to host a meetup, to able to speak to a crowd that you know really well. All you need to do is ask, and like people will be open to that. Organizers of meetups are always looking for content they can give to their members, and so if you guys feel like you've like got the knowledge of some field, whether it's Angular, whether it's you end up studying in depth here, like definitely like attend meetups, talk to organizers, and you can wind up giving a talk, getting it recorded, and having something really cool on your resume or your LinkedIn. Cool. So like overall, I feel like it comes off like a little bit. You're just like a little bit cheerleaderly, but really, like that. Sometimes that's kind of like all you need is like you guys do need to just like go and be yourselves, be safe, obviously, and just like have fun. I think meetups are a good time. You'll hopefully meet cool people, and like who knows, maybe not for like your first job, but maybe your second job or your third job, you might meet somebody who just by virtue of having them in your network is something that provides some kind of advantage down the lane. Any questions?
So when you first were hosting meetups before you were a programmer, what were the meetups for?
It was for hiking, actually. So I co-organized a group that did hikes. So I led people hiking through the woods, which was a lot of fun. Well, that's in Madison, Wisconsin now, so I can't organize it anymore. That was before I moved, and hiking is harder in New York, so you have to take the subway.
What usually happens in the programming meetup? Just that someone gives a talk?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, I feel like I see like two flavors where there's either somebody gives a talk, or it's more of a just kind of like open workshopping where everybody just like brings a computer, is working on their own thing. But the idea, like if you're there, you're like available to help. Like say, like for example, like I posted, Beginner Programmers is a meetup that I'm a member of, which this is called Beginner Programs, but there's kind of like some varying, or like Beginner Programmers and Hacker Hours rather, is I'm a member of, and like I go there, and it's like hey, I'm gonna work on this, but if anybody has any JavaScript questions, then you could ask me. And there are other people there who might be like, it's like, hey, I'm a Rubyist, so if anybody has any Ruby questions, feel free to bug me. I don't mind. It's it's just like like a nice social hacking atmosphere. So I find that pretty cool.